Take one.
Hello, welcome to Firehouse Stories. My name is Bob and this is Doug, and we tell behind the scenes stories of the fire service and the people that work in the fire service. Both Doug and I are career firefighters, as were our fathers, so there's lots of stories to tell. And you got one today, Doug?
I have got one.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we were talking like one of the previews before, episodes before, about our captain and how we fell out the bike and how he's a worrywart and
We tormented him.
and yeah, he was just a super guy. You got to realize we showed him a lot of respect, but at the same time, he took a lot of punishment from us. Anyways, we
Punishment.
his son-in-law, his daughter's husband, had a coffee shop in the market down in their town. Anyhow, he had this coffee shop, and he used to bring in the coffee in this bag, and it was so expensive coffee, but it was the best. According to him, it was the best coffee. Oh, and he sipped that.
His son-in-law sold him that it was the most
Oh
remarkable
yeah, it was
coffee
the
in the
best
world.
coffee.
But it was something like what?
Oh, it was ridiculous, like $18 a pound or something like that. And so Bill says, he said $18 a pound, and I said, what? Which is an absolutely ridiculous price back then, and it still is. And I said to him, I said, you're kidding me. And he says, oh, no, but you got to try it.
Well, hang on for a second. Take a step back. We paid into a tea-ring every week when we got in there, and the tea-ring would buy supplies like coffee and milk and whatever.
Exactly.
And you know, guys that were bouncing around, the coffee pot was always on in the fire station, but not for a company.
No, not now. Not with the $18 a pound.
No, we had a pot in the morning, and if we came in at night, we'd have a pot, and that was
it. And then we'd have one the next morning.
Yeah.
But Bill would take his coffee and he'd sip it and he'd, is that ever good?
Man, guys.
And I'd look at him and I'd taste it and there's nothing special about it at all. I didn't think.
And we'd say, well, you can get Maxwell House for $8, and then we could get pizzas every month.
Anyways, we put up with this shit for about a month, and then he went on holidays.
Yeah.
So I said to him, he said, well, we're almost out of coffee. I said, well, I'll go down and get coffee. He said, you going to go to Paul's? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll go to Paul's and get coffee. I went to the A&P, down around the corner from the station. I went to the A&P and I got 8 o'clock coffee. I think 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
8 o'clock, yeah.
Cheapest coffee on the shelf. Like, I mean, it was like $3 a pound. And I bought it and I put it in the tin that Bill would keep the real special coffee in.
It was a hermetically sealed tin.
Yeah.
And, moisture.
You had to make sure it was all proper temperature and everything else. Anyhow, Bill comes back from holidays. I said to Bill, I said, I went to Paul, I got this other brand of coffee. I said, it's even better. And Bill said, really? And I said, yeah. I said, we're going to have some. He said, oh, all right. He said, is it expensive? I said, it's even more.
Yeah. Paul said it's the best, but it's another
Paul
$2.
says you can't get better coffee.
Talked us into it.
So I said, we tried it and we're sold on it. He said, oh, this is beautiful. So he goes upstairs and he takes his coffee. And this is this 8 o'clock from A&P. He goes, and I'm looking at him. He goes, oh, wow, that is a good cup of coffee. I said, you asshole. 8 o'clock. Well, he was pissed off. And then it was, needless to say, we never bought coffee from Paul again. And 8 o'clock was the coffee for us.
And we had pizza once a month at the fire station.
And paid for it.
And that was a big deal because pizza's coming to the door. You know, that was one of our favorite nights when we'd get pizza come in for pizza night. And I've got a story about pizza night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you share that with us?
Well, it didn't happen on our squad, but it happened on another squad.
Well, let's talk about another.
And there were other guys too that were, not quite normal. But they ordered a pizza at number 4 company, and the pizza came to the back door, and the delivery guy had it. And the guy went downstairs because the living quarters was upstairs, slid down the pole to get the pizza, paid the guy, and there was a workbench right there. And well, just as he was paying the guy, an alarm came in. So he threw the pizza on the workbench and he got dressed in the truck and they went out, and it was a fire. And so they were there for a bit, but the guy that paid for the pizza, he got a major cut through his, I think a window piece of glass, broken glass fell on his boot, and he got a major cut in his calf, and he had to be taken to the hospital to get stitched up. So he went to the hospital, and the remainder of the guys stayed at the fire, and they cleaned up and did what you did with salvage and overhaul and clean up. Put everything back, and on the way back to the fire station, they stopped at the hospital to see how things were going with their buddy, their comrade. So they walk in, and of course, I'm sure the hospital didn't like it, because when you come out of a house fire, you smell like wet smoke. I mean, it's, Doug and I like that smell, but a lot of people don't, and quite smoky. But anyways, he's in the emergency with a doctor, and he's on a table, and the doctor's got a needle, right, and he's in the emergency department. And we sort of go up, and we say, "Hey, how you doing?" He says, "Oh, good." So he says, "You coming back to work?" And he says, "Yeah." He says, as soon as he says, doctor says, "You're not going back to work tonight." He says, "Well, yeah." He said, "No, you're not going." So the one guy said to the doctor, "You sure you can't come back to work?" And the doctor said, "Absolutely not." So he looked at the guy and said, "Can I have your share of the pizza?" A true story. But that was life in the fire station.
Yeah, no sympathy.
So thank you for tuning in for us. We post every Friday. Doug and I do. And if you liked us, press the subscription button, and we'll get delivered to your email box every Friday. And if you just like us, press the like button. Think they like us?
Yep, absolutely.